Give everybody here a couple of moments to get started. Want to say welcome. Little Apollo and I are here to welcome you in for the next week. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and let's talk about the weekly collective. We have a great topic today. It won by a pretty large margin, and the main topic is how to get unblocked. Basically, how to find the blocks in your life and move beyond them. And what a great topic, because here at this sort of like precipice where we're almost finished with the year, thank goodness, right? This has been an interesting year to say the least. It's really good to get rid of those blocks so that you can push through 2023 without any issues. So special thanks to all of you for showing up and picking a great topic for me to read about today. The format is right here below me. We'll be starting with channeled messages, and today it is predominantly coming from dreams. Water was throughout all of my dreams. Almost every single dream had an element of water, whether it was frozen or in liquid form, whether it was a big ocean or a lake, it just kept coming through. So we're going to talk about that movement and that energy and that passion that is all part of water. Once we do the channeled messages, then we're going to go through the 7 days. It'll take us from this Sunday to next Sunday. And then we'll look at some other interesting things like, positive element, the blessing and the block. And then we'll do a special breakdown by elements. After that, it's, again, the beginning portion, and then everything that follows is good for everybody that's present. That's how my collective readings work. If you're brand new, a couple of quick notes. I would love for you to hit that subscribe button. You can opt into notifications so you never miss out on something new. And if you'd also like some additional reminders, you can follow me across social media, where my handle is always my name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, except for Twitter. Everything else is listed below. Remember that I do not offer any private readings, so if anybody pretends to offer one, you know that that's not real, and if anyone tries to contact you through direct messages, also not me. If you would like to show love and support, you can do it through SuperStickers and Super Chat. You can also become a member or gift a membership. This week, by the way, a slight schedule change. I think I'm going to, because we have Pisces, and I want to make sure that I get that done before the end of the month, so I'll either be doing that on Tuesday or Wednesday. Usually that would wait until Thursday, but I'll probably do Monday and Tuesday and just make sure that Aquarius and Pisces get done back to back. I might also do something for retrograde since it's coming up. A very short video, maybe like a 15-minute one to kind of help us all see what we need to focus on. So more to come on that, and that may be just one that I drop and record so that it's like a little toolkit. And this week in particular, I want to do something with members. So more to come on that. We have a lot to go through. So just keep an eye on the community tab. And again, once you like and subscribe, you'll get indications of what's coming through. Okay, let's get into your channeled messages for today. As I was saying, a lot of dream messages for you. And I think it's actually very much connected to what we're talking about today, which is the blocks. And some of you might be having emotional blocks, or your feelings may be getting in the way of being able to get through to the next thing. So I think this actually marries well with the special topic, which again, we'll talk about a little bit later. Let's go ahead and bring up the presentation, and I'll walk you through my dreams and connect it to the week ahead. All right, so water is interesting because we need it to live. It's the one thing that life on this planet absolutely needs, and you can't go very long without it. If you had to pick one thing that you want to make sure that you have, it's water. All right, I am going to connect this with the King of Cups first and foremost, because it was in every single dream that I had, because it's all I could think about when I got up. I think your emotions are going to be really important this week. The interesting thing for you is I saw you underwater, breathing like you had gills basically, and thriving. We have to move through our emotions. We don't want to become beholden to them. And if you can find a way to embrace, face, and channel that, that's what's going to help you. And that's what the King of Cups can do. He understands what he wants. He understands how to use emotions in a positive way. And he's strong enough to not let other people's emotions impact him. So many of you are empathic. You are very sensitive. And so one of your important things that you could be focusing on in meditation this week would be proper grounding and proper shielding. For everybody else, grounding is still important, and separating other people's stress and issues from your own is going to be really essential to being on top of your game like the King of Cups. I thought of this ace in a different way. As a tarot reader, I see the same cards every day, but I get different meanings for them every time that I look at them, which is what makes tarot so fun. As I was connecting this to the totem today, I thought about how life on the planet began. Everything started in the oceans. It was single-cell organisms, and I've done research previously on this. It's kind of like where all of the heat jets are, where there's a continental plate that's going underneath it. So the volcanic areas where there's heat and these single cell organisms, or the sort of primordial ooze was gathering, that was like the perfect soup to create life. So it was water and a little bit of movement and a little bit of heat. We still had the elements there, earth, air, water, fire, except air, maybe it was, a little bit of oxygen there. But essentially, water was the key component. Without it, we couldn't connect the elements. Without it, the heat didn't have something to heat up. So water is kind of like the first ace. It's the most important ace for us here, the ace of water, ace of cups. So to me, it represents an epiphany or an aha moment where in the heart and then eventually in the head, we see something and we just know it. We know that I have to do this or I can't do this. It's the inner compass this week that is really going to help you sort out what matters and what doesn't. And the heart is kind of like what I was talking about, that volcanic energy that kind of melts things together and helps you figure it out, and it really does help move energy through the body too. Oxygen and blood and everything. So follow your heart this week and think, is this me? Is this what I want? Does this feel good? How do I feel about this person? Use this as your compass and it's going to help you out. If you're emotionally connected, aka passionate about something, you're much more likely to be able to absorb information if you're learning. You're much more likely to be successful in doing something because you like it. People are more likely to want to receive what you're giving because you're having fun. And so the most important thing is passion and emotions this week. Okay? So it all begins. The point of inception is, do you feel it? If you don't feel it, don't do it. Or figure out how to resolve it. And that's going to help you out. Okay, let's go on to the next slide here. So letting it go is going to be essential too. We can think of water aggregating in the clouds above, or, the sort of slow movement of the tides before they come in. More and more and more energy comes together to the point that eventually it has to crash, it has to rain, it has to somehow get out. I chose the Eight of Cups because one of the things that you can do while you're feeling that swelling and welling of energy is to get perspective. And Eight of Cups is saying, step away from something, sleep on it, go up to the top of the hill, get a bird's eye view, talk to someone else. Don't make the decision in the heat of that kind of like storm of energy. Let it pass, or get to the point where there's a neutral, calm water so that you can think, act, and sort of move clearly. One thing at a time. Breathe. So if you're feeling like all these things are happening, again, get space. And the 7 and the 8 of Cups are interesting because 7 of Cups is when your head is going in all those directions. The 8 of Cups is saying, let's just move away for a second. 9 of Cups, you're passionate, you're excited, you kind of know what you want to do. Take it a step at a time, take it one thing at a time, ask for help if you need help. Most importantly, though, you can't hold on to everything forever. So there's going to be a point this week where you just have to release. That can be letting go of something, someone, or just deciding you're not going to worry about something anymore. But you have to let something out or let something go. There can also be a way to channel that through, again, a creative endeavor, sports, art, something like that. This was really interesting. So among all the different dream metaphors, I saw books floating up, from a library, floating up in the water to the surface. And it felt to me like things were being buried. And the truth always has a way of coming out. So I have Justice and then the Moon card because we have the Lobster on this one. And I think last week we got the Lobster as one of the Catalyst cards or something. But the Lobster represents our fears, our anxieties, our hopes, our dreams, and all that stuff that we bury sometimes. And that comes out in the Moon card as saying, like, I'm still here. You can't avoid me. Justice is saying, do something about it. Do the right thing about it. And if you bury it, it's just going to resurface. So some of you might be feeling that this week, we have a Mercury retrograde coming. Let's get this stuff done before that so the retrograde can be easier for everybody. And so, as I'm looking through some of the energy in the main topic today, hopefully I can help you move through that. And I basically saw you swimming. Things will go swimmingly, moving with ease. Like I said, you almost seemed like you had gills. You were a fish underwater. And I think what you could apply this to your own life is that basically there's not just a straight path from point A to point B. You can go up, you can go this way, you can go that way. You can receive assistance. Your flexibility and your imagination and your innovation is going to be what's going to help you. And if you feel stuck, and this is really connecting it to the special topic, then you have to sort of like set the expectations that something could show up differently. It could end better than you imagine. So rather than us putting our energy into stress or the unknown, focus on possibilities instead, and really focus on manifesting that this will be easier. This could be easier than I imagine, right? So let's quickly review, and then let's get into the 7-day forecast. Okay, so everything is about water today. And I said that if you can kind of really connect to that energy, you'll be like the King of Cups, being able to ride that wave of passion, creativity. People are going to look up to you, respect you, and want you to be on their team because it's like, yeah, this person's got it together. You might be really in connection to your heart or your intuition, or you might have an epiphany. I want you to follow that if it comes through. The more connected you are in the heart, the more successful you'll be. If you're overwhelmed, get some perspective, come back after a good night's sleep or after you've had a few deep breaths, and then take action. Don't bury things. It's important to face your fears, your anxieties, your hopes, etc. And finally, know that whatever comes your way, you're going to go through it swimmingly. It's all about expansion this week. That's why we're ending on the world. And I think you're going to be able to manage all of this stuff very well. All right. So I've got a lot of decks here today. I was like, I want to shake it up. I want to use some stuff I haven't used in a while. Let's see here. I'm going to put the camera down and we'll take a look at them real quick. I got an idea that I'm going to use another deck to help us choose. I went back to my sort of selection that I have and I was like, let's just see here. So rather than do a poll because I wasn't getting any feedback here, let's just pull one card for each and we'll take the biggest card. Oh, there's the King of Cups. I almost feel like we should honor it. We'll start with this one. Let's see which other ones rank highly. All right, the Little Prince and the King of Cups. The Tower is still a major arcana and it's a change maker. So I'm going to feature these two first because Spirit said they can help us out. And then we'll come back to some other ones. I have plenty to look at today. I thought I would try something different. I'm like, let's let Spirit talk. All right. And I know some of you want me to, I might incorporate Rider-Waite-Smith anyway. I always use it throughout the reading, and all of my sort of decks are derivative of Rider-Waite-Smith. But okay, Star Seeker. I haven't used this for a while since I've been in this particular place. So good choice, universe. Okay, so if you just joined, we're going to do 7-day forecast taking us from Sunday to Sunday. And this is going to give us a chance to see what's possible. Yeah, now people can't complain. It's Spirit that chose this one. I got this idea today. I'm like, I have too many decks in front of me and I don't have enough room on the polls. So this will help us have a little bit more randomness to it too. Okay, so let's pull a card for today. We've got the Queen of Swords in reverse. Monday, beautiful world card. Tuesday, the Moon. A lot of synchronicities with what we were talking about in our channeled messages. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I got the Eight of Cups too. Okay, I love this. There's a lot of synchronicities here. Look at next weekend. Okay. Okay, we have 2 and 1. All right, so let's break this down. We'll start with today's message. So for Sunday, we have the Queen of Swords in reverse. Let's look at her upright. Queen of Swords, of course, is encouraging us to use our voice, to act swiftly, and also to do the right thing. She's very close to the Justice card too. This can indicate legal ramifications or legal action. The reversal of this is saying that if there is any hesitation, if there is any sort of holding back, that today would be the day where it's time to let go. Action, swift action, is really what today calls for. when I pulled the daily read, which is kind of like a complementary card for this too, we had a relationship card, the Four of Wands. So some of you might be pulling in external help to help you take action on something, which is cool. You might also be needing to stand your ground or speak your truth to friends. And the Four of Wands is a very receptive energy. So just kind of bringing a connection between the two cards. Speaking your truth is always going to set you in the right path here. It's just about making sure that when you communicate, that you're mindful of audience, because Queen of Swords can be a little bit terse or a little bit curt sometimes. So you want to find that way to just be direct enough while also being sensitive, okay? Overall, I like this card with respect to what you can get done today. It's a card of leadership, communication. People are listening. People are receptive to you. It's going to be a good day, okay? Let's go ahead now and take a look at Monday. This is quite possibly one of the most beautiful world cards that I've seen. We'll pull it upright. Again, a few reversals here, but sometimes with the world in reverse, it's resistance to inevitable change, but change nonetheless. So as we look closely at this, we see the figure of the world cast against the galaxy. She's in shadows, but she's surrounded by light. And the beginning always does involve a little bit of shadow, a little bit of doubt, a little bit of uncertainty. We have to have night before day, and there's a lot of space between the stars. So this is saying, don't be afraid just because you don't see it, everything happening. The sort of Genesis energy, which was part of the whole, water that I was picking up on for the totem, things began small and got big. So those little single cell organisms over, billions of years eventually gave life and shape to bigger things like a whale, for instance, but it started small. So a little tiny thing today can be a whale, tomorrow or in a few days. So give it a chance to grow and give yourself a chance to ease into change, and then find your space among the stars. So I look at this as the constellation to me is to find a pattern. So it looks chaotic until you start to map it out. And so I think the best thing that you could start to do on Monday is to map out or chart out this new course that you want to take. The world in reverse is also possibly like planning and opening yourself up to new things and not limiting what's possible, because there'll be plenty of chances in the future and opportunities in the future for things to be limited. But you want to start off expansive with your brainstorming, with your high-level ideas, so that you can let the universe show you exactly how much and how far you can reach. What can you do on Monday? Just about anything. One thing that will help you, though, is to change the environment. So if you were going to meet somewhere and you're a little bit nervous, like change the meeting. If you were thinking of doing one thing and you're now drawn to do something else, go that way instead. It's expanding, it's moving. So movement is good in general, and then expansive thought is really preferred. Travel is okay as well. Could be a little bit of a delay with the card in reverse, so give yourself extra time if you're traveling somewhere. Nothing negative around it, just possible delays. All right, let's move on to Tuesday. This is where you've got to kind of like face the facts. So we've got the moon card, and you don't really see the lobster on this one because it's just a darker image here. What we do see on this one are the phases of the moon. So one thing that the card is conveying is that the energy that you're putting forth right now may not actually manifest itself fully until 1 month from today, or a full lunar cycle from this. What are we starting to do? We're waxing crescent. So you're starting to go from this. So it might be from one waxing crescent to another waxing crescent, but give it at least a month, give it at least a moon phase. But generally speaking, this is an interesting day with respect to relationships and with contracts. You want to be a little more careful with the moon card. People are keeping things close to themselves. They're not necessarily revealing everything. So if there is a contract that needs to be signed, definitely have a lawyer or an expert take a look at it. If you're going to make any sort of agreement or decision, ask a lot of questions. Use that Eight of Cups energy that we talked about and take some time, get some perspective. And don't be afraid to be the one that asks the toughest question in the room too, saying, hey, nobody's asked this, but I think we're all thinking it. What's this about? Talk about the elephant in the room. All right. You're seeing things others may not. What you want to avoid on Tuesday is unnecessary competition. We're missing the wolf and the dog on this card. I'm going to pull up the traditional one. I like the two trees. One thing that they're showing, though, is that two people can be very stuck in their ways, right? Those are trees that are rooted and they're not going anywhere. So in the traditional card, we would see a couple of animals, usually a dog and another wild animal, representing what you've been trained to do and what your instincts are telling you. And sometimes it can just represent the stalemate that happens when two people think they're right. So there's always a path between those two animals at the front. And I really think on Tuesday, that's the point. You might need to go a separate direction. You may realize it's not worth the battle. It's not worth me fighting to show what's right or wrong. So in this one, we still see some similarities. Instead of the trees, there are these big monolithic structures in the background. So there is that being stuck energy. And then we have like two people or two animals that think that they're right. We have something that needs to be dealt with. And then there's a path to illumination. Ultimately, whatever's coming out, whatever you're dealing with, you're on the right track. Here we see like a mountainous sort of path. So it's still there. So a little tricky, a little difficult to navigate. You do have the moon lighting the way. You do have your insight. There is light. There's light in both of the cards here for Monday and Tuesday. All the stars on Monday, and then we have the moon on Tuesday. All right, moving into Wednesday. This is the day where things are not as bad as they seem, but someone else's stress is coming into your sort of energy. We see the big bear behind this person, all the swords around her, and there could be someone that through their own well-intentioned sort of actions, this can be a mom, a boss, or a friend, they're coming in and they're afraid of you failing. So they project the fear, and the fear gets in your head and you think, maybe I can't do this. Maybe they're right. And it's kind of holding you back. So don't let a fear restrain you. We see a snake around her arm. I think the snake is connected to the bear as well. So this is a power struggle and also a lack of faith in your power or your capacity. So again, a lot of times it's parental energy or leadership energy in a bad company where they just don't trust. They're like, you're going to fall, you're going to stumble. Well, one thing that you learn as a parent is, an occasional fall or stumble helps children learn where to go, and they scrape off their knees and they don't do that again. So we have to be willing to let our children or our direct reports or our friends or people in our life take that chance that they might scrape their knee. Because if they don't, how are they ever going to get their independence? How are they ever going to do something? Same thing for you. You may stumble, you may trip, you may have a little bit of you may not have any of that too, but at least you have to try. So don't let someone's fear get in the way of some sort of experience in your life. The Nine of Swords, of course, is warning you against not getting enough sleep. So if you are, trying to get something done, don't burn the candles at both ends. You're going to end up being grumpy like the bear on Wednesday. So we don't want that to happen. This reminds me a lot of the card in Fountain Tarot where we see all of the cords coming from the person in the Nine of Swords. And there could be a lot of different energies that are impeding or affecting you on Wednesday. And you're going to kind of unplug. The swords aren't above her. She's not reacting to them. She's almost in a yoga phase, trying to get her zen. So I would say, really decide if it's worth it. And you can just take one of those swords and decide, like, this is what I want to focus on. Stand up for yourself, take action, and realize that this is mostly a day of other people's fears or anxieties getting in the way, or maybe a lack of sleep, something of that nature getting in the way. Don't let fear hold you back. Hopefully, if you've really embraced the energy of Tuesday, this won't happen because this is a fear-based card. You erase the fear, this goes away, okay? And then we just have like a power symbol of the bear, which to me is strength, but it's slower moving. It's a day where you really want to work on motivation. So if there's something that has to happen using just the totem of the bear, because especially in the Northern Hemisphere, we're entering into winter soon, it's hibernation time. So how do you get your family motivated? How do you get people around you at work motivated? How do you get yourself motivated? So going back into what we talked about at the beginning, it's what makes you happy. Go into some sort of passion project or inspirational practice and allow that to sort of like start the day, or that can be your kind of go-to when you're just feeling like, how am I going to get through this? Treat yourself, connect to that passion. you'll find your energy again and things will be all right. You can always navigate the Nine of Swords. It's just fear, mostly. Fear and exhaustion. So be careful of that. As we go to the energy of Thursday, we have another synchronistic card because all of these were featured so far. So the these three. So the Eight of Cups is saying, again, getting that perspective. And I like this one because it's showing, it was reversed, but let's look really just kind of like up close at this card. So we see them tiptoeing along these stones and kind of opening up a new door, a new journey. And that's one of the coolest aspects of the Eight of Cups is it's a journey of self-discovery, one that we typically need to take on our own. And I think it's a nice complement to this. So if this energy on Wednesday seems too restrictive, you know what to do. And it's basically saying, I need some time away from whatever that is, a person, place, or a thing. I need to go find myself again. I need to figure out why I'm here, what I'm going to do about being here. And I'm also going to reclaim energy. It's a reclamation day as well. And you don't have to come back, but you're leaving the door open. I actually like that we see a door on the Eight of Cups, or a gateway. We typically don't, but in a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card, but it is about an open door. What do I mean by that? I mean, let's say you decide to do something big, like quit a job. A lot of times when Eight of Cups energy is there, the other person will counter offer. Maybe not immediately, sometimes immediately, but they'll say, definitely, are you sure? Please, let's keep in touch. Or if you change your mind, give me a call. If there's a cancellation for an appointment, the same thing might happen. They'll say, can we move it up earlier? Or do you want to change the time? We'd really like to see you. There's a definite interest even as you are pulling away. So that can be advantageous and you can leave with grace and dignity if you need to. It's a good day to step away from something if you intend also to have the possibility to go back. You can just leave things on a good note because you never know when you're going to run into someone again, whether personally or professionally. And I found that to be definitely true. A lot of jobs. Sometimes the most I saw someone was like at 3 different jobs over the course of maybe like 5 years. We kept hopping to different companies. I'm like, oh, you again. One time I hired them too. So you never know when you're going to keep experiencing that same energy. So walk away with a clean slate and a clean conscience and expect that you might have a reconnection. If you want a hard and fast stop, you need to make it very clear. So this could also suggest that for legal matters that you get a little bit more of a clarity, less ambiguity, because otherwise this will come back. Okay, so it can be good. It can also be an indication that you need to be clearer because someone may not understand. This is especially true if you're dating and you're not interested and you're kind of trying to be polite. They're not going to get the clue. You're going to have to say, I just get a friend vibe, but thank you. Because otherwise you don't want to send mixed signals. That's the most important thing with this, okay? All right, as we now go to the end of the week, that was Thursday, Friday, things are picking up. Now you want a break, and you may not get a break. The Four of Swords in reverse is being sleepy, but not necessarily being able to rest, and things being shaken up a bit. I like the wind chimes on this one. We're dealing with air here, so it makes sense. One of the things here is to be at peace. The other, we'll look at the traditional card in a second, but normally you would see a coffin, a sepulcher, some sort of example of a resting body or resting soul. So there could also be this awakening energy because the reversal of that could also be seen as renewal, rebirth, or awakening. And that connects with the wind chimes here. So you may have kind of been through this sleepy period or been waiting for something, and there's a rude awakening that happens on Friday. So a few things that I'd like to talk about while I get the traditional Four of Swords here. First things first, make sure that throughout the week you're pacing yourself so that you can sprint a little bit on Friday because you might be asked to burn the candle a little bit. So, get the sleep in the earlier part of the week if you can. Be very clear on your intentions. We see the hands in a praying pose here. Before you go to sleep or when you wake up in the morning, make sure that you set the intention for what you want to accomplish. You are more effective when you're intentional than if you're just sort of random. So that's another thing. And I think also if you feel like I'm not done with that, then you get a chance to come back to it and awaken something that had been sort of slumbering beneath the surface. So with this, you'll see that they're sleeping on an ace. We got the 3 swords above, we got the 1 sword below. The 3 of swords now at peace. It's not like the 3 of swords through the heart. And the ace beneath them, what's going to happen after this rest, after this peace? Never kind of looked at it that way, but it's there. I always say with any of the swords cards, you can reduce it by 1 by taking an ace, by taking action. So this is moving beyond a period of sadness. It makes sense because 3 of swords first, then the 4 of swords. So I've been reading a long time and I'm just getting that, but they've cleared out the energy, the emotional energy, the anger, the upset, and now they're at peace, and now they can take action. You're going to be asked to move some way, shape, or form on Friday. You can get things done, but I feel like by the afternoon, you're gonna be spent. So the morning is the best time for you to get whatever you need to get done. And then at a certain point, try to avoid caffeine, try to avoid taking on too many meetings. There will be a point of diminishing returns. So front load the day if you can, and then try to get some rest in the afternoon or the evening if you can. Okay? All right, let's move on to the energy of next weekend. We have the wonderful Wheel of Fortune here, and the cool thing with this wheel is it doesn't matter what direction it is spinning in because it's a web and the spider can move in any direction, just like all the cool sort of like fish-like energy that I was picking up with in the channeled messages. So yeah, I don't care if the wheel looks like this, like this, like this. Guess what? It's a wheel. So things may actually be that you may benefit yourself by kind of looking at things upside down like the Hanged Man does. And if you're thrown a curveball on Saturday, you can still move with it. One of the most agile totems you can get is a spider. They're even able to kind of like quickly spin a thread and come down from a tree. They don't even fall. They land on their feet. You know what I mean? So I really love this as an indication for resources, for finances, for being able to think your way through something. Here's what you want to avoid: getting caught up in someone else's stuff, particularly their financial issues or just anything in general. You are at this precipice of moving forward. You don't want them to get in your web or you to get in their web. So clear things out if you need to. Cut cords if you need to. Maybe if I remember at the end of the reading, we'll imagine that we're doing that with the spider's web because I really like that. So remind me in chat if I forget. Because that's something that the spider can represent. Again, cutting connections. Every day they clean up their webs so that they can catch a new meal. We also see something already sort of prepared there. If you look really close, you can see that they've spun a web around something. So if there's something that you intended to complete or finish, it looks like it's ripe for the picking. It looks like it's good. This is a good day to get something done. Okay? Focus on money, focus on work. I know it's the weekend, but you can get something completed, possibly because someone's more available too. So send the email. Someone's checking their email on the weekend. Okay? And if it's just about a relationship or making a plan, again, they're more receptive for some reason on Saturday. 2 cards stuck together for Sunday, so we're going to respect that. A lot can happen between today and next Sunday, but let's just see where you're headed right now. So we have you moving beyond the 3 of Swords. You have the 4 of Swords here. There's a little bit of a hiccup that comes back, and then we have the Hermit. So let's talk about the presenting card, the Hermit, which is the main energy. The Hermit in reverse, which it came through reverse, is saying, show your star power. Here, the Hermit's actually holding a galaxy or, kind of like a star spinning in his hand. I like the Hermit because it's a wizard. And if I'm looking for someone who's spiritually connected, this is definitely that. You've done the inner work. You've done more than enough. And this is basically saying, if you need to spend the day finishing something up, great. But come the following Monday, a week from tomorrow, it's really time to let something go. And the block in this case would be you after that, because the Hermit's done everything he can. At a certain point, you have to come out of the shell. And that's really what is being asked. Either by the end of that day or by the next day, it's time to come out of your shell. It's time to show your true colors. There is a fear card beneath it, the 3 of Swords, a fear of rejection. What will people think? Am I going to go down that path again? This hurts, or this puts me in a sensitive space. So that's something that you'll have to work on healing, but you have a lot of time to kind of deal with whatever that might be. And a lot of times it is just a fear of if you ask someone out, them saying no, a fear of applying for a job but not getting accepted, a fear of showing someone something that you've done, but them saying, that's not good enough for me. All you have to think is it good enough for you? Are you good enough for you? Rejection is a part of everyday life. And there are some people that are nice about it, and there's some people that just play dirty. But you're going to rise above that. The Hermit energy has a pretty good shell. Apollo's sleeping behind me. Has a pretty good shell, but again, you want to just kind of like ground yourself again in that you're strong enough to handle this. You've done it before, you can do it again. Okay? Quick review, and then we'll get into the next part of the reading. For today, if you're watching live, it's about taking action and speaking up. Monday, a great day to get things started. The World card is about expansion. There might be a different way to go about it. Stay open. You might decide to change a direction slightly, but the cool thing with the World card is you can go in any direction that you want to, so stay open. You need to deal with things on Tuesday, so if there's somebody that's either acting inappropriately, or if you have a concern, or if there's something else that's coming out, basically the Moon card on Tuesday is saying get that dealt with sooner than later. And then at some point, if you can't resolve it, then move on to something that you can. We see some rigid energy, and then we have like this fluid energy. So you want to stay in the movement of the water, because that's what I saw earlier. That's where you're going to thrive. Don't let someone else's fears hold you back from moving on Wednesday. Cut any sort of unnecessary ties with people that project that kind of energy as well. Get enough sleep. 2 days, we're getting sleep messages for you. So this is a day where if you can afford it, do it, because you're going to need to sprint on Friday. Thursday, something new could be coming back into your, well, it wouldn't be coming back. Something new could be coming into your life. You could be returning to something, because the Eight of Cups can be a return. You could be breaking a cycle. It's a card that basically indicates a choice. Do you stay? Do you go? If you go and you want a clean break, make sure it's truly a clean break. If you go, there can still be a potential to come back. It's a loose energy, basically. You can do a lot with it, so be mindful. Definitely get your sort of perspective in order on Thursday, and that's what this card is really underlining. Friday, it's a sprint. Front load the day. Get as much done early. Get some sleep if you can. Try not to stretch yourself too much. On the weekend, on Saturday, things are moving in your direction. Doesn't matter which direction you're in, you're going to be able to manage it. Don't get caught up in others' drama. It's their drama. Step back, focus on you. You can be very effective, particularly when it comes to work and money. The whole energy for the next 7 days is about you coming out of your shell. There's a little bit of fear about doing that, but hopefully we've been able to kind of set the stage and help you get ready for that coming out of the shell. All right. Let's look and see what's coming next. So we just went through the 7-day forecast. We'll take a look now at blessings and blocks. All right, so let's take a look at blessings and blocks. We'll use the little prints for the next portion of this, since the cards spoke earlier and chose it. That was kind of fun. I might do that again. All right, so blessings and blocks, basically allowing us to connect to the energy that we need to focus on. All right. The blessing and the block. All right, they're actually both very beneficial cards, so I like this. For the blessing, we have the sun, which I actually featured in today's graphic. So the sun has to do with how much you believe in yourself. There's a little bit of ego energy. There's power energy in this as well. It's interesting that he's looking at the sun rising from the moon. So once you deal with what we talked about, what was that on Tuesday, the moon energy, then you're able to really respect and embrace everything that the universe has to offer you. You start to see the silver lining, right? Sun energy is about birthing things. Typically, you would see a little baby riding in on a horse. So it's the beginning phase of something, letting go, birthing something, really focusing on the positive and knowing that you have the power. The sun is the powerhouse of our solar system. So it's you. You're the solution. It's the inverse of that Taylor Swift song. You're the solution. It's you. You're the source. You're the inception. So go back to that energy of self and creation and think, I can make this happen. Okay? Now for the block, power struggles. And we talked about this with the little baby bear energy, or the baby and mama bear, which came through on Wednesday. So let's look at this. You can do it, but someone doesn't want to let you do it. You may actually be in the Empress energy, but someone sees you as the child. So it's about coming out of that sort of spell or that phase of life where, you know, again, it's we go through it in multiple parts. So like, first it's child and parents, second it's student and teacher, and then sometimes it's even looking at, you know, the bigger world and thinking that you're still having to answer to everyone else. At the end of the day, you're answering to yourself. You have the power, you have the leadership, you have the capacity to make it happen. But there's systems and I would even say like programs in our head that we have to deprogram and say, no, I actually can do this. I'm ready for this. So this is about the reclamation of power, healing wounds from the past, separating yourself from any power struggles between parents and between authority figures or mentors in your life as well. Okay. She's also wagging her finger. She's pointing in both. Well, no, she's just in one direction. Yeah, she's wagging her finger at that prince, basically, because this is the little prince. So this is someone who just doesn't want to acquiesce or allow someone else to come in and find their power, and we're not going to let that happen anymore. So that's the main message with that. Okay. Now let's move on to the elemental forecast, where we look at fire, earth, air, and water. Okay. Let's move to a different deck for this one. I might do the sun and moon. I can't remember where it fell in all of that, but we'll do it for this. Okay. Let's turn the camera down, pull a card for each day, see what's coming through. All right, so we're starting off with fire, earth, air, water. Okay, beginning with the energy of fire. So this is for Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Fire for fire. We have a good energy for you as we're looking at the next 7 days here. So we have the King of Wands, leadership. It's a unicorn too. So uniqueness in your leadership or in your approach is what actually sets you apart. Not doing what everyone expects. So embrace the unexpected, embrace the singular and unique qualities that make you, you. Take action. This is not a king that's sitting down. He actually has a lot more knight energy. I had to look at the card, make sure that it was a king and not a knight. So this is saying sometimes good leaders aren't afraid to roll up their sleeves and join the team. This is also underlining everything that I just talked about with the Empress. We have a king and a queen, basically. So you're evenly matched for whatever challenge or opponent or partner that you have. Never lose connection to that divine sort of balance that's already there. King of Wands is about innovation, is about thinking big and also following through on that. So it's definitely walking the walk and demonstrating and showing up. And as long as you do those things, you don't have to be the big talker. You don't have to sort of like overcompensate or do anything other than just really be the best that you can possibly be. And the King of Wands is fantastic at that. All right. And because this is the highest card that I could pull for fire, it's going to be a great week for you. Yes, there were a couple of things to note when we were looking at some of the cards here. I think that the trickiest days of the week were probably for everybody really would be Tuesday and Wednesday here. And then for some of you, there's a little bit of self-sabotage that could come through a week from today. But other than that, it's a pretty manageable week. So it's looking good for all of my fire signs. Just show up and give 100%. All right, let's focus now on Earth sign. This will be Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. You're being asked to make a choice, plain and simple. You have the Two of Pentacles in reverse. You can't do everything for everyone. I like that we got Pentacles for Earth. This is good. And it's basically saying you have two aces. One ace is calling to you a little bit more. And when you choose to focus on that, that's when your power, that's when your effectiveness starts to set in. Two of Pentacles doesn't necessarily mean you don't have enough. It just means you might be spreading yourself too thin. We see that rubber band of energy, and there is a breaking point to that rubber band. It is more finite, and it is more apparent than the energy that you would see in like the Six of Pentacles, another resource balancing card. The sooner and the clearer you kind of put that line in the sand and say, this is what I stand for, this is what I can do, and this is what I can't do, the better for you. Okay? It's a work-life balance card. I actually typically read it as that, not so much as money. So how are you spending your time? Could you be spending your time more effectively? Do you miss hanging out with friends, family, or a child or a pet or something like that? What can you do to spend time, energy, and money a little bit better? And that's basically what this is asking for, is change. The reversal of this is saying change that's overdue, but change that you can nonetheless make. Okay? Let's see if there's anything else here. I think that's the main piece. If it does come to money or time, don't overcommit. Two of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, both have a tendency to be stretched too thin, so don't. Basically, under-promise but over-deliver. You can have the intention of doing more than you say, but just make sure that what you say is possible and that you're not being too aspirational. I never say that, but you know what I'm talking about when it comes to, there's this underlying thought, I better not say that, or that one last thing is going to, I just know it's going to be trouble. So if you have that feeling, trust it and pull back just a little bit. You want a safety net or contingency or padding, basically, however you want to chalk it up. And that's going to help you out. All right. Make a choice. Things will grow and prosper from that choice. Again, making sure that you over deliver, but you don't over promise. Okay. That's the magic for this week. All right. Moving from my earth signs to air, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Here's what's coming through for you. A blessing in disguise. We have the Four of Cups reversed. There's always a cup in the air, kind of out of reach or not readily visible. And sometimes it's because there's denial. This can't be happening to me. I'm not deserving of this. I can't do that. Some of the energy from the mama bear that we were seeing midweek could be coming through. Some sort of old program echoing in your head, keeping you from seeing your potential. It's okay. It's going to happen. You'll be all right. This can also be a willingness to look at things from a different perspective because it was reversed. But there could still be a little disbelief because this card always carries with it just a smidge of that. This is also saying you, in this case, you are choosing not to compare yourself to others because it doesn't help. This is the grass is always greener card, where you look at someone else that might be the same age or went to the same school, or it's your neighbor or whatever, and they're on a presumably or apparently a better path. But if you were to dig beneath the surface, you may be surprised at some of the other stuff that's going on with them. We never know the true story. Only they do. So rather than compare on a surface appearance, just you do you this week, and you're going to be better at that. What we still have in this card, and again, kind of like what we were looking at with the other four card, you have the Three of Cups right in front of you, which is showing me love and celebration and opportunity and abundance. And there's more abundance that wants to come through with that flying cup. So this could be new love. This could be unexpected good news. And you're so kind of like expecting the worst that when it happens, you're pinching yourself and thinking, is this real? So just be open to some sort of a happy surprise. It is real. You are deserving. You can do it. Release the fear. That's someone else. That's not you. And that's the message for Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Water, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. It's a good week for you. I would expect it to be a good week because water reigns supreme in my channeled messages. You got a lot going on. So I like this one because she holds the arrows, but she also has like this superpower. You can see like this rainbow of energy coming back from her. So she's in the middle of busyness, and she's saying, I can manage this, I can do this, I'm shielding back that. And she also has all the bows and arrows behind her and in her quiver, and she can just kind of like pull it whenever she needs to. So here's what I would say. What is your focus? What do you really want to be effective at this week? Because it seems to me like you're juggling a lot. You're going to do well. Eight of Wands, you're not going to stumble in the Eight of Wands. But what happens with Eight of Wands is sometimes the voice gets lost. Actually, in the Little Prince deck, I believe that the Eight of Wands comes through as a community card. It's one of the few that shows it like that. So what happens is there can be a lot of competition. Seven of Wands is usually a little bit more competitive, but there can be a lot of competition. There can be a lot of movement. And you may need help, you may want acknowledgement. Suffice it to say, long story short, you could just get lost in the shuffle. And so what you want to try to do is find a way to ground yourself. Make sure that if you need to talk to someone, you have someone in your life that you can talk to, and that you don't lose track of what you set out to do. Because sometimes, I mean, I'm sure you felt this if you're in a busy shopping center, a busy bus depot, you're outside, there's a lot of people. You can get turned around a little bit. Here's the Eight of Wands. This is one of the coolest Eight of Wands that exists, because you can kind of see this, it takes a village, right? So if we were to look at this, it takes a village to get it done, but you can also be the one at the center with the brightest torch and say, let's not lose track. There's a lot. We're kind of scattering like ants. Let's make sure that we're all doing the same thing. So you might need to pull that hermit's lantern and say, remember why we did this to start with. You may need to raise your hand. You may need to take a break and let everyone scurry around you. You're not alone. That's the main message here. And typically, I love traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, but we forget all those wands come from somewhere. You can actually see it in the Little Prince deck, okay? So you're not alone, but you might be feeling alone. You might be feeling like your voice isn't being heard over the crowd. You may need to ask for help. You may need to slow down a little bit. Remember that with wands, you can always subtract and still be successful. Every single card is pretty manageable in wands. So you can do less, but do it better. Take away a couple things from your plate, you have success, the Six of Wands. Take away a few more, you can spend time with friends, the Four of Wands. Take away another one, you can start to plan for tomorrow, the Three of Wands. So as the day progresses, as the week progresses, maybe just do a little bit less, but with more intention. Pull back a little bit from some of the crowded or noisy parts of your life, and you'll find success, working your way back towards a new ace and a new beginning. Okay. That, my friends, is the elements. I'm going to hold, I've been doing this, I'll probably change this graphic eventually. We're going to hold the viewer and reader's choice until after we do the special topic for today, because I feel like it's more effective. So let's do just that. Let me clean up all the cards in front of me, and then I'm going to do the same sort of let the cards choose for today to see which deck to use for the main portion of the reading. How's everyone doing? If you just joined, by the way, we're going to be doing the special topic, which is how to get unblocked, which is, I think, is something that we can all relate to in our lives, because we feel that block sometimes. All right, so let's pull some different decks here. We're going to make sure that there's no repeats today, so I'm going to let Spirit choose like it just did earlier. And if I get a tie, then I will... Or if I get a couple that come through that look interesting, then we will do something fun. All right, so some different ones that I don't always use, or I haven't used in a while. All right, so we'll use the Rider-Waite-Smith deck to help us choose today's special topic deck. So far, that's in the lead. Okay, we actually have a winner. I thought we did. Okay. It's going to be these two for today because they're the highest ranking ones. All right. So we'll use, for the main spread, we'll be using This Might Hurt, and then I'll be putting in a little bit of the Modern Witch, maybe for some of the extra stuff at the end, like I said, the reader's and viewer's choice. Kind of fun. I just wanted to try something different today. It takes the pressure off and it's faster than waiting for a poll. Okay. I look forward to being able to have a table here as well. This is fine, but there's a lot going on here. Okay, here we go. Special topic for today is how to get unblocked, or how to remove blocks and become as powerful, effective, and focused as we can. Let's see what the universe has in store for today. Yeah, I use this one occasionally for the daily card pulls. It's a colorful deck, and I don't think I've used it for a special topic. It's an indie deck, by the way, so I always try to support indie artists when I can. Lots of bright colors with this Rider-Waite-Smith derivative. It's fun to look at, actually. super bright actually with respect to colors. I like that as a reader. It makes it easy to do my job. And contrary to its name, it's actually quite inviting. Let's see. Okay. All the decks that I use are listed on my website. I've had this one for a long time, actually. Like I said, it's mostly used in the daily card pulls. There are a couple today that I hadn't used in a long time, like Wheel of the Year, and I have a Glossenberry one, and there was a couple of other ones here. So I'll just keep going back into my chest of all the different decks and try to change it up from time to time. And the reason I'm doing the Rider-Waite-Smith decision is I find that sometimes we keep choosing the same one, so I'm just letting the energy of energy decide, which seemed like the most democratic. You'll get a choice to vote when we do the readers and viewers choice. Yeah, this is like super bright. All the colors today are really, really bright, which is good because we need that. And this is a super clear deck, which I think will help us with the main topic today. Okay, let's begin. What a cool connection to our totem today, but seeing both sides. Remember, I actually talked about you thriving and being able to swim and look in all directions. So it says, take a step back and try looking at this from a different perspective. What a great synchronicity with the energy of water. And that is it, my friends. Definitely that's a connection. Pardon me, I'm going to take my shoe off. I was able to not wear an air cast anymore, an air boot, but I still have a little bit of sensitivity with my foot, so I have to take the shoes off occasionally. I'm healing, but slowly. All right, so seeing things from both sides. So if we look at this as just two sides, there may be some relationship energy coming through this week that could provide a block. So you and your partner, you and a coworker, you and a parent. And the big opportunity here will be how to help them see that it's more than just them. Go beyond the obvious, right? I actually think it's more than just two sides. I think, like I was seeing in my dreams, it can be up, down, sideways, backwards. You could be looking in all different directions with this. So don't limit yourself by someone else's fear or perspective. Don't limit your perspective. Keep an open mind, stay open, and know that no matter what happens, there's a new way to get this done. It's not the old way, though. You're going to be asked to stretch or try it this way or that way or some other direction. But once you explore that, you're going to feel this sense that you've got this, okay? But we have a few things here. Take a step back. So that's the Eight of Cups energy coming through. And then looking at it from a different perspective is what we talked about earlier. All right, so nice connection to our channeled messages. Makes a lot of sense based on what we've been talking about. All right, your center cards. I love the High Priestess is crossing the center. So we already see power and a decision that's kind of already sitting right in front of you. But let's look and see what might be blocking you. This is the core energy of the block. I mean, actually these three, because this is what's going on now. This is the past, and this is recent past. I actually want to start with the deep past because that's the source or the root, and then we'll get into the present. It's a kind of reverse of how I would normally do this, but because of the special topic, I feel like we have to start here because this is where you're at, but this is where it came from. So we'll go to the root first, which is accountability. We have the Seven of Swords. This is someone running for dear life too. So some of you may have, in a moment of protection, kind of like hit the eject button to get out of a bad relationship or a bad job or just a really bad deal. And you just thought, no, I'm going to cut my losses and run, or I'm just going to just forget about it. I don't want to deal with this anymore. So because we're on the heels of retrograde, it's coming back, the fear or the energy of this. And once you deal with it, you're going to push out this kind of character that comes through with the Seven of Swords, which is someone that tests you and thinks, are you aware of this now? Will you sign the same sort of deal? Will you allow the same sort of energy in your life? So the way that you erase this, that you reset it, that you get unblocked, and that you basically attract Four of Wands energy, someone that truly is a good partner versus the Seven of Swords, is by being honest with yourself. Like, do you truly want to do something or do you not? Are you being honest with someone else and being kind to someone else. Basically, the integrity, honesty, and grace. Seven of Swords will just fizzle in that presence. So be your authentic self. Walk and speak and act with grace. Be accountable and hold others to accountability. If they don't do what they say, let them know. If they still don't, you can find other ways to kind of, sometimes there's legal routes, sometimes there's contractual routes, but you can hold them to their accountability as well. So as you start to do that, people won't mess with you because they can see you are a person of power and integrity. You are a person of power and integrity, or this wouldn't be coming through. But there's something from the past. We all have moments where we don't necessarily do what we set out to do. Maybe because we didn't know our limits, maybe because we didn't listen to our intuition, maybe because someone talked us into it. They abused the friendship or the relationship and made us overpromise. And basically this card is just saying, fool me once, but it's not going to happen again. Most important thing, it's the root of many of the cards here today. You have to really focus on that. Now let's look at these two energies because they're kind of together. So you are in this new sort of, it's almost like a newborn energy here, the Page of Wands, especially because we have the Knight here. But you're emerging again, and there is a little bit of a power struggle that's coming through. So we have Page, Knight, and King, all kinds of Wands energy here. Also the competition energy in the environment. So here's the thing. Remember what I was talking about earlier. You are an equal partner. Someone around you may be trying to exert their power. Someone beside you may be trying to be competitive with you. The truth of the matter is you are creating, you are tapped in, you are powerful. Your head, your crowning card is the King of Wands. That was all the good stuff that I talked about earlier. Innovation, power, leadership, leading by example. You're kind of stuck energetically though in Page energy, which is sometimes feeling like you're waiting for someone else. Pages run errands, pages deliver, pages receive, but you actually have King energy crowning this whole spread. So that was the past. I like the receptive piece of this. It's good to be open, but you have more power than you're giving yourself credit for. What's necessary right now is also there are three cards here. This is the idea that's now being shared with the world. This is doing something with it. And this is also like standing your ground. So there's this idea of who you want to be, what you want to do, but there has to be rapid action, because this is recent past, and ownership. And that's also what's going to keep this away. When you own something and accept something, and you're basically, the buck stops at your desk, that's going to get rid of this as well. And then people are going to be interested. We have some great cards on the side here, but we have the brother-sister energy of the Seven of Swords and the Five of Swords, and we'll talk about the Five in just a second. But first things first, you're going to hold people accountable. You're going to realize your power. You're going to act on your idea. You're going to walk the walk. And now you're going to listen to and trust your intuition. She's crossing all of these. So she knows what happened in the past. She's not paying too much attention to that. She sees the potential here. She's going to help you find the right place to take action. She's encouraging you to keep an open mind, and she's going to help you bring in the Ace of Pentacles here. You're manifesting something new. Let's make it a good thing, not a repeat of these two lessons. Now let's look at, it's important because this is how you're showing up. The Five of Swords. I would want a slightly better card. This is where the next block is for you. You don't have to win everything. Sometimes when you lose, you win. Sometimes when you step away, you win. Sometimes it's not worth giving someone a platform. So you're going to decide when it makes sense to fight a fight, or when you have to prove. There are times when it's a legal issue, when it's truly false, when it's truly somehow wronging you, that you have to, of course, fight that fight. Other times, it's just people making noise around you, and it may not be worth it. So the Five of Swords is something that can't easily be won, may not be worth the fight, may have ramifications where you're getting hurt as well, or the other person's getting hurt as well. But traditional Five of Swords, there's just someone that doesn't want to be wrong, okay? And no matter how much you argue, no matter what you put in front of them, sometimes because there may even be some issues in like cognitive ability to understand what you're talking about, They just don't get it. So it doesn't matter what you do because it's just falling on deaf ears. So that's the main thing there, is to understand that there are limits. So keep an open mind. There are times where you might just have to walk away. You want to avoid the defensive sort of energy or overly defensive energy, which we even see in the environment. There could be a better way to do a communication with someone to open up like your idea or this potential here. With the Seven of Wands, someone is on guard. Someone might even be hypersensitive. They may be seeing things that aren't even there because of their fears. They're seeing their projected fears. And so what you want to come in and do is help them feel safe in the conversation. So these three cards make everybody feel very unsafe. This is the kind of card where you want to lock your door at night. This is the kind of card where you want to buckle down and make sure that you're ready for this sort of like communication. This one is telling me not only can you hold your ground, but you don't need to come on too strong. So it's both the most powerful and then the most sort of tricky card. So she's holding like a bow and arrow, but she's deciding, is it worth it? And she's also deciding when and where to put her energy. You can always work smarter with the Seven of Wands. Usually everything that you try to do, you can do, but there's a cost, there's some exhaustion, it makes you a little riled up. It can also be difficult to not be defensive when this energy is happening. So what I see here is an opportunity that deserves your attention. What I see here in the past is a fear of being hurt or having someone not do what they said again. What I see here for you is an understanding that sometimes it's not worth that argument if someone isn't receptive. What that opens you up to do is to do more with the energy that you are investing in, or like I said earlier, do a little bit less, but do it more effectively. Really not lose track of this. Because there's a lot of distracting energies here. And finally, like when you think of really good leaders and really amazing, just sort of powerful individuals, they don't have to raise their voice. There's a way that they enter the room, that they hold their body, that when they do speak, there's power. Even in the calmest of words, you can hear that there's someone that you don't really want to mess with. So it's in how you hold yourself, it's in what you say, and it's more about what you believe. Because if you believe you have power, if you hold yourself in a way that you do, then other people are going to see that as well. So posturing is important, but make sure that the posture is not overly aggressive. Make sure that you are not coming on too strong. That's the other thing with this. It's good to want something, but don't push it because they're already interested. It's already happening. So give a little bit of wiggle room here for them to be able to talk, for them to be interested. So don't come on too strong. That's another potential block right now. Okay? Now let's see what's coming through in hopes and fears. It's the card associated with hopes and fears. It's the moon, right? Yeah. We talked about this, another card that was featured. The moon in reverse is saying, I'm not afraid. Not afraid to just say what I need to say. I'm not afraid to go after something that I'm really passionate about. The worst that will happen is a delay or rejection. But if I don't try, I'm guaranteed failure, right? If you don't try something, you're not going to do it. If you try it, at least you're trying. You might learn. You also might finish what you wanted to do. So here we see the two people kind of playing the role of the wolves here, or the wolf and the dog. And we see something coming to the surface saying, you got to pay attention to this. The moon is always there to light the clear path. So don't let fear be the distraction. Don't let competition be the distraction. Don't let someone that's trying to get the best of you, to goat you and to get you to argue. Don't let them distract you. And don't let someone get away with something. It's interesting. We got three cards. The only thing missing from this is the devil. The Seven of Swords, the Five of Swords, and the moon. They're family in tarot. Because again, Seven of Swords is sneaking around or sleight of hand. This is using words and using your own sort of like power in a way that makes people feel like they can't win. And this is someone trying to get away with something as well. So I see a pattern here. One of the blocks is it feels like there have just been some people and situations in the past where people weren't bringing their best game or being as authentic or being as honest as they could have. You are going to model the behavior that you want to see from others especially when they do not. So this is not about, the way to counter bad behavior is good behavior. And also possibly if there's someone that could be faltering around a little bit, you could try to find a place to see positive reinforcement, not just the critical, and say, I believe in you, but you make it hard sometimes when this and this happens. What can I do to help you? Because I know your capacity and your potential, and I hate seeing these sort of things pop up. Give them a chance if you want to, but let them know that this is the last and final, and they better show up, and they better do what they said they were going to do. And you might need to get them to sign something. So that's how you could try to kind of help someone like that. But otherwise, I would just say be very discerning, be picky. So if you feel like someone isn't saying everything, just go straight to the point. Remember the Queen of Swords energy from today. Just say, are you really interested in this? You don't have to say yes if you don't want to. Give them an out. Or say, we haven't talked about this, but I have a feeling it's something we should. Maybe it's compensation. Maybe it's, their availability. Maybe it's someone isn't out of a relationship and you're dating them and you're like, but we need to look at this. You're not really free. The divorce isn't final. Talk about the elephant in the room so that the devil card doesn't come into the spread. Okay. And I think that's the key thing here is don't be afraid to deal with what you need to deal with. Ultimately, if we look at this, and this, it's good stuff. We have leadership, we have opportunity, and now we have this sort of chance to go one way or another. The Chariot is saying, are you ready? Do you want to lead? Do you want to follow? Have you learned the lessons that we've talked about so far? And we see 2 motorcycles in front of this person. They're riding both of them, but I think that there may be an opportunity to, again, go your own way, go your own path. You don't have to repeat lessons from the past, from your family. You don't have to try to please everybody. The Chariot card is really just about deciding where you want to go and how you want to do it. And the sooner you do that, the more you're going to find people that are on the same path as you. And you can share that journey with them a little bit. Okay? Looking at the overarching meaning of all of this, I usually do the final card last, but I'll do it last. We're going to expand this first to health, wealth, love, and destiny. But as I'm looking at all of this, I just want to highlight a few things. You are manifesting a new opportunity. Your intuition, which is also the moon card, is helping you light the way. So don't discount, don't second guess what you feel. You're walking away from some patterns in the past of maybe spreading yourself too thin or having other people take advantage of you, but that's not what the future holds. So know that the past is something to learn from. It's not a script that you are stuck replaying again and again, okay? And know that when you say, this is who I am, this is what I want, this is how it's going to be done, that's how you're going to kind of like connect the king to the ace. That's how these figures will kind of go out. They're just people around you, and they'll focus on other things when you are showing your integrity. They'll find other people that don't have the clarity, don't have the strength. So there's a little bit of self-confidence building that will help the 7 and the 5 of Swords and the moon cards scatter in the best of ways. Okay? Now let's expand and take a look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, the expanded forecast. As we take a look at the health cards, I'm here to help you navigate energy, but if there's anything going on with mental or physical health, obviously you can work with the appropriate professional. So makes a lot of sense here because we have Pride coming through. I'm happy that we want the solar energy in there that I talked about the sun being a great card for being able to birth something, but it can also be excess pride. So we have, I love myself and I see myself in everyone. It's a fine line between that and we don't want to enter into blind pride and or even narcissistic energy. So some of you may have someone in your life that is too proud to say no, too proud to ask for help, too proud to understand that maybe this wasn't worth it, to see the writing on the wall. So don't let pride get in the way. Do, however, take pride in who you are and how hard you've worked to become the person that you have. There's a time and a place and there's a balance with it. You should be proud of your contributions, but you shouldn't be so proud that you're afraid to accept help, right? It has its time, it has its reason, it has its place. You just have to figure out where that is for you. Enough said with that. Let's look at the rest of the cards here. I'm just going to drink a little more water. And we're going to focus on what you can do to be healthiest and happiest. Okay. Here's the good news. If we just look at all the cards on the top, I like this. First of all, I like that you're very clear on what needs to happen. It looks like you're starting to take action. You start to see a return on this, which is great. And it's just about staying true to the plan. This is the past, the Seven of Swords. This is the foil to it, the Chariot. No, I'm in control. That's not a temptation. That's not a distraction. I got this. So if there was something in the past, some sort of temptation, overeating, overworking, overdrinking, etc., you're in control of this, but you have to choose that on a daily basis. That's basically what sobriety is, right? But that's also what just healthy living is. I choose this path. These things exist. Someone's asking me if I want to hang out late. No. Someone's trying to get me to do this. No. Someone's telling me I'm bad because I don't want to do this. No. I'm the one in control here. Boss energy, boss energy, boss energy. You got 3 cards that are the boss. What do we see here also? We see that you're starting to, you don't have any time to waste because it looks like you have to put your time and energy into something important. So pushing back, this is a delegation card. So when we're looking at how to better spend your energy, we had the 2 of Pentacles coming up for one of my one of the elements, I forget which one. But when the two of Pentacles came up, this is basically you standing firm and saying, this is what I can do. This is what I will do. This is what I choose to do. So be strong. Be very sort of specific when it comes to that. The moon in reverse can also be like dehydration. It can also have to do with the urinary tract or reproductive system. So make sure that you are getting enough water in your diet. If there is anything going on in that part of your body, obviously work with a doctor. If you're trying to get pregnant, this is interesting. We see the potential for a pregnancy here, but we see the stress associated with trying to get pregnant, and then that sometimes thwarts it because the body reacts to stress, particularly for those of you trying to have a baby. So do something to allow yourself to just relax a little bit, and remember that there should be some joy in that as well. Joy in anything too. So if you're trying to get something done, the whole sort of receptive energy of the moon can have to also do with starting something new, a new relationship, a new project, a new journey. You know what you want, but if you push too much, if you come on too strong, if you put all your energy out there at once, it just takes longer, and it's not as fun for the other party as well. So you just want to make sure that you're giving some time and some space there. Let me see if there's anything else. I think that's it. So let's now move on from health to wealth. In the wealth spot, we have the horse king here, assistance and control. To me, this reminds me a lot of what a traditional king of wands would be, and I think it showed up that way in the sun and moon deck when I was using it earlier. So if we look at this particular card, that's what we're kind of seeing there, is the king on his horse. And what I said earlier was it would be really effective for you to be active. So when it comes to money and leadership and control, you are going to make sure that you're not just delivering marching orders, you're actually there. You're rolling up your sleeves, you're a part of something bigger. So assistance and leadership, we're seeing both. And this is a very active king and a very strategic king. So I would totally connect that with like a chess king as well, because he's thinking 3 or 4 moves ahead, not just about a quick win, how the long win is going to be accomplished. All right, now let's take a look at what's just kind of coming through generically speaking for all issues with wealth. Okay, if you've been looking for a new opportunity, those that are job seeking, it's on the horizon. If you're in a current job, you may be given a growth opportunity. Here's the challenge. If you're stepping into something new, there was a mess before you came in. Part of what you're going to have to do is ask about this. You know, probably before you get into it, what's what's there. The person doesn't want to talk about it. Excuse me. So stick to the facts and bring up if there's any sort of, excuse me, let me get some water here. If there's any sort of research or data that people are trying to kind of graze over, stick to the specifics and say, hey, we really need to talk about what's going on here. How will I have the support that I need? Because this is a lot to take on. I had a couple of jobs where I came in with the understanding that there was a lapse in leadership, there were limited resources, there was an understaffing issue, and I thought I knew how tricky it was going to be, but I didn't know how tricky it was going to be. So make sure that you ask a few more questions and learn from my example, because I really needed to understand the morale issue, by the way. That's going to be for some of you the biggest challenge. So there could be a morale issue where you work or in your family or in your group of friends, and this is affecting you. So really look at, before you start something new, making sure that you vibe with that people, that it feels like an extended family, because you're going to be spending some time there. So I see some people saying they're looking for new job opportunities. So do research on the company, ask questions that are tough, but not to the point that you're scaring the person that's interviewing you. And then if they start to kind of push you in a corner, you could ask questions. You could say, well, first of all, these are great questions. It's interesting that you're asking this. Have you had trouble with this before? You can ask a question about a question and think about the answer. Just say, I have some thoughts, but I'm actually curious. Before I answer your question, you're buying yourself time. Has this been a problem at your place? Is this something that we would be dealing with frequently? If so, how do you deal with some of these things? You can get your way out of a hard question by kind of doing something like that. Because I do see you being pushed in a corner. When it comes to negotiation, you know what? Sometimes this one's good, especially with this. If you're being asked to pay too much, this is like for a purchase, or if you're being asked to accept too little for a job, you could just say that doesn't sound right. This is what I was paid before. This is the industry norm. I'm expecting X% on top of that. Why don't you sharpen your pencil and get back to me? I'm very interested, but it seems like someone's crossing wires, or maybe I'm talking to the wrong person when it comes to that. Let's look at the other stuff, and then I'll work with HR when it comes to this. Sometimes you don't have the right person when it comes to salary negotiation. Get a different person if you need to. We're not talking about being unreasonable, but if they're trying to be unreasonable and have you take a lower title, lower pay, or it's just a pure lateral move with no sprinkles on top, maybe there's a chance to sweeten it a little bit, because that's what I see here, is you're not getting the full picture. So definitely ask, at least say, can you check on this, because it doesn't vibe right. And you're also showing that you're able to think critically here in this moment. Power issues are key. I want to know who's the boss. For those of you that are in a new job, I see a lot of people that are vying for control. I don't necessarily see you might be kind of poised to step into leadership here, but if it's a company that doesn't sort of have a clear-cut path towards that, you might have to go somewhere else. That's what I'm seeing. So there's some morale issues in some companies and some jobs, and I see some leadership scattering sort of stuff happening here. So put your hat in the ring if you want to, or apply for something else. I love that this is near future. It looks good to me. Okay? Let's see if there's anything else that we need to look at. When it just comes to standard money issues, be honest with yourself. If someone's pushing you to spend in a way that you don't want to, hold your ground. Ultimately, we see money going in a better direction, but it's about accountability and honesty. That's the main thing. All right. Nice segue. Now let's look at relationships. Yeah, this is totally what it's about. This is the connection to the deep past. This is the karma. If we're looking at existing relationships and even new relationships that might be coming in, it's all around the honesty. All right. Someone is saying, geez, sounds like a mess. No, I'm just, here's the thing. So sometimes you can be in a really good, we're going to pause for a second. So let's say you're in a good company, but there's no upward mobility. It's not necessarily a mess. You just may have gone as far as you needed to, in which case that Ace of Pentacles is you reaching out somewhere else. You may be in a company where you're really happy, but they're cheap. and they don't really want or see the need in kind of like paying more or allowing you to have what you need to kind of get to the next level. So sometimes it's just people that aren't good at leadership, but the environment doesn't have to be terrible. They may be sort of just hedgy about things. You like working there, you like what you're doing, but they never come through on the promise. It's not necessarily a mess, but I see a lack of accountability. So rather than saying it's messy, I think a better way to put this is there's someone that just falls short on their promises. And it doesn't have to be like super negative. It could just be really frustrating from a career perspective if you've put in like 3 or 5 or 7 years and you're like, it's time. So the cards here are showing that it is time, okay? These cards can be a lot less aggressive than they look. This is just someone that doesn't do what they say. This is someone that isn't going to listen to you and isn't going to take responsibility. And this is someone that, again, tries to get away with things. How they do it, it could be very, very sort of like, they could be charming. That if the devil came through, I would say, I can see why you're here, because sometimes the devil is charming. But don't let the charm get in the way of you doing what's necessary. Now let's move to relationships. It's still a nice segue to that. Honesty is at the core of everything this month, and it could be the biggest block. Being honest with yourself, having others be honest with you. And it says, I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. This is the key to getting rid of the 7 of Swords in your past and in your future. If you are honest, always with yourself and always with others, you are going to cut down by a considerable amount how many times this energy comes into your life. Because it's a big world, because you're stepping foot out into a large world, you're occasionally going to run into a character like this. They won't be attracted to you again, and they're not going to stick in your space so much. They're not going to stick in your energetic space. So the more honest, the more integrity you have, the more transparency you have, the more that person's running for the field, because they don't like that, okay? The devil doesn't like that. So just be true to you. Now let's look at relationships in 3 different areas. We'll look at those in a relationship, looking for a relationship, or single and happy. If you're in a current relationship, communication is a little tricky. All the stuff we talked about holds true here. You may have been caught saying something and then doing something else. Your partner may have as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be the end of the world. It could be as small as saying, I will mow the lawn and you don't. But it could be aggregate because it's in the deep past. It's happened a few times. So you say you're going to pick up the groceries or pick up the kids or do the laundry or do this or that, and it just keeps not happening. It aggregates. So it doesn't have to be one big lie. It can be an sort of like this snowball of a bunch of little things that don't happen. So you or the partner needs to work on just being clear and coming through on promises. This is being able to receive feedback, constructive feedback, not get defensive. So one or both parties may have some challenges there. The good news, all 3 of these cards are positive. This is leadership, this is acceptance and growth. This is seeing beyond the fears, and this is kind of splitting it and saying, I'll do this, I'll do that. There's a little bit of concession there. So the answer in this is basically both of you realizing there are some patterns in communication that could be a little bit better, and you're going to work on that. If everything's hunky-dory in your relationship, there could be a fear of repeated incident from the past. So this could be legitimately deep past or karmic past, where the other partner walked away or cheated or did something wrong, but they're actually not doing it in this lifetime. And there's just this inherent fear that someone's going to leave or someone's going to lie, but they haven't done it. They're showing up and they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. If there's no evidence, if someone's really doing everything that they're supposed to be doing and it's just fear, this could also be a deeper energetic thing where you're recovering from a past karma sort of injury, and you're saying to yourself, I am perceptive, I'm awake, I'm aware, I will see it if it needs to be seen, and I'm not going to let fear rule everything. I'm not going to second guess every single thing. Know that if it needs to be dealt with, it will come across your plate. You are going to see it, okay? So that's the other thing, and that's a much deeper and more complicated message here, but I'm trying to help everybody be unblocked. So the block may just be a fear that something intangible is going to happen, and it's not. unless it's showing up, because I'm not seeing it here and I'm not seeing it here. There may be something that pops up, but you're going to recognize it and ask when and if that does come through. Okay. And let me see if there's anything else. Looking at maybe the third narrative here, one thing that I could see is that some of you are just attached to groups. This could be your family. This could be a workplace. So maybe everything looks good, because it actually kind of does with the core unit here between you and your partner. But their family's a little bit difficult, or you've been working a lot and you're taking stress home from work. So that can spill over, even if you have the best of partnerships. So when it comes to family, it's about deciding, like when to push back on unrealistic comments or expectations. You may not be able to do everything that's expected of you. Your partner shouldn't have to become someone different just to please, in-laws, etc., and vice versa. And they should stand up for you. So this is about being there for each other when that sort of shadowy energy is around you. Okay? Because I talked about this before, you're the core unit now. So you stand strong and you set the tone and you set the stage. And that's what the King of Wands is about here. Okay. At the end of the day, just say what you need to say. Whether it's something that's upsetting you, something that you really like, whatever, just be honest. I think that's key. If you're looking for love right now, I think that if you're single and looking, you have a good chance of pulling in some love. It could be a water sign here because we have the moon card here and opportunities. I think the interesting thing, though, is the universe wants you to steer your life into a manageable or a more sort of satisfactory track, because it looks like there's been some stuff that's gone on recently where you just need to let the dust settle a little bit. Really focus on juggling everything, getting everything in the right order here. And I feel like for many of you, you can make it happen now, but I think it's better to wait a week or two, or maybe even a month or two before you're focusing on relationship energy. What you see is what you're going to pull into your life. So if you want it and you're ready, it's coming. We could also be having a really great fire sign. But what's important here is that you're ready. And what I'm seeing here foundationally is just clean things up a little bit. If there's something you don't want to do, if there's someone that you're with that you don't want to be with, clear that out first. If there's anyone in your life that isn't really supportive, we need to deal with that. And then just make sure your schedule is cleared up a little bit. You can definitely manifest. You have more than one partner opportunity that's coming through. You may also be pulling in someone with a family. So this could be, an ex-partner and a child with this person. So just be willing, if that's sort of like what's coming through, to see if that's something that you want as well. If you're single and happy, I actually think you're in the best of all worlds right now, because I see growth with finances, movement with the job, releasing of fears. For many of you, the ability just to throw yourself into something and really see some progress happen, whatever that might be, whether it's self-improvement, a project, or something else in your life, you're definitely headed in the right direction. Okay? And that's pretty much it. The honesty card, I'm looking at what someone said. Always make sure that there's a constructive piece when you are giving any criticism or feedback. That constructive piece is ever so effective and I think essential. So reminding someone that you care about them, reminding someone about how much you appreciate certain contributions or certain actions, and then putting in something that you need to see work on. That's my old art director background, saying, wow, I love, maybe something that I would say, like if it was a job related thing, I would just say, I appreciate all the work that you've done. And why don't you tell me where you're at? And if I didn't agree with something, I would say, how did you arrive at this? I know we talked about this. This is different. Let me understand the process. With a partner, you could say, I know we've talked about working on this. I know you've been busy. I haven't seen a lot here, and I want to understand, is it because I wasn't clear? Is it because you're exhausted? Is it because you don't want to do it? Where is this coming from? Because I want to be able to support you, but this frustrates me. That's a better way than saying, you said you were going to do it and you didn't, and I'm angry. Because that just puts the person in the Seven of Wands. Instead, you can say, I see you're things are difficult right now for both of us, but this is important to me. What can we do to make it happen? Find a way to show that you care, but also show that you mean business, because you are the King of Wands. So you're nobody's fool, you're not a pushover, but you're kind and you're empathic and you're trying to pick up on what's coming in, okay? Okay, I think that covered everything for relationships. We're now going to move on to your destiny card, and it's more love. Share the love. The card was reversed. So for some of you, you're ready to receive. Here's the big thing. You're saying to the universe, I am tired of always kind of getting the short end of the stick, always having to fight for things. I'm ready to receive love, abundance, and opportunity without having to prove all of this. And I'm ready because I actually believe in my worth. There's no more tests that are necessary. I'm worth it, I'm ready, and I'm looking and I'm listening and I'm picking up on it. I'm manifesting that. I don't need another test to say that I can't, or I'm not enough of this, or I have to speak up again. I'm now ready, but the test in my readiness is the true belief. I can look in the mirror, or I can reflect on the work done, and I can say, that's good. I'm solid. I feel good about this. And we see the mended heart here at the center. And that's really what's going to be necessary for others to share their love, their support, and their abundance. There's also a question, are you truly ready to receive? So if someone says, I want to do this for you, or invites you somewhere or whatever, are you ready to say yes? Because this is kind of on the fence a little bit with that, okay? So loving, accepting, and validating yourself, and then being ready to receive without question, without doubt from others. That's what we've opened ourselves up for. And I always look for positive energy, but I did see some accountability issues. I did see some communication issues. I did see some like overworking tendencies here. So these could all constitute blocks. You asked me to dig for some blocks. I found some blocks, and we're gonna, we'll work through them as we look at the viewers and readers' choice in just a moment. Okay, with that sort of in mind, I now want to do the big idea. And for the big idea, we're going to just kind of take a look at one overarching message to see if there's something that we can focus on. I'm going to use this deck for this. And really make the most. So this big idea is going to be, how can you get unblocked in a single card? No pressure. Okay, Page of Swords. Now we're talking about taking some action. I love this one. I just used this deck this week to read with it. So we have the dandelion seed pod there at the top. We have a wish, and we have an intention, and we also have this declaration and the release. Dandelions are such an effective propagating flower because of two things. They have these deep tap roots, and they also can spread like all over the place because of these little propeller seed pods. So say it and release it and then move on. So the answer ultimately is say it, do it, move on to the next thing. The moving on piece is the most important. It's the hardest. Releasing and moving on. They may be together, they may be at once or kind of like right next to each other, but they're the important things to deal with right now. The Page of Swords is constructive, is succinct, is direct, but what I like here is he's speaking from the heart. It looks like he's holding his heart space. He's letting go, he's moving on, and that's the most important thing, and that's the big idea. All right, let's together look at the cards and do the readers and viewers' choice now. Okay, so let me just get to the right window here. And we'll set up a poll. All right, I must have minimized it, so give me a second. Okay, so as I'm looking at the cards here, I think that we definitely want to look at the 5 and the 7, so we'll look at that in just a second. All right, okay, here we go. 5 of Swords and 7 of Swords. So the way that I want to kind of go through this is honesty and integrity. So let's just see what's coming through for honesty and integrity. Honesty and integrity. And then how and when to fight the fight, which is kind of the 5 of Swords. How and when to move on, which is basically the big idea. And I want to look at the intuition, like what's coming through maybe that you haven't, that you're not listening to. So I'm looking at a bigger question here, which is, what is your heart, what is your soul guiding you to do? So clarifying the High Priestess, because she got lost in this big mix. What's the universe trying to make you focus on? What's the focus? The Hanged Man, interesting. Okay, so for some of you, there is a necessary pause before the next wonderful thing happens. The reason that you are seemingly, but not literally stuck, is that there's just a little bit of integration. A little bit of integration that needs to be done before things come into clear view. So, looking at everything, have you truly left a clean slate before you move on? Is there something you said you were going to do that you need to do? Is there something that you haven't truly sort of, on a karmic or an energetic level, absorbed and learned? As I look at this card, it's going deeper. It's going beneath the surface. So the reason the universe wants you to pause for one moment, we see the zipper there and the big wide world behind it. It's saying, let's just pull this down and see what's beyond this, going a layer deeper. So before signing on the dotted line, before saying yes, before walking through that portal, pause and really be present and think, all right, this is what's happened before. This is what I want to do now. This is truly how I feel. Let's do this. Like, get ready. Or say, I need to ask, I need to look, I need to peer one more time and just make sure that I've got everything in order. Whenever, like, I've had to move a lot lately. So whenever I move, you need to walk through rooms a few times. The hardest move for me was when my mom passed away and I had to get stuff out of her apartment. For whatever reason, every time I went in, there was like one more box. I kept looking like, there's another box. Oh my God, she hid something here. I didn't know about this. And it was just sort of like, I think I went back 10 times and I kept finding things. So sometimes in our lives, we have to keep looking and think, did I finish this? And what about this? So look at your finances, look at your promises, look at everything. Get it all sorted out. And then step through so that there's nothing that's going to snag you, like the zipper. And that is really what's going to help you. It's good. You have a pregnant pause this week because we're really kind of looking at the energy of a week. By the end of the week, you'll be ready. Things are going to start to move on their own. That sort of zipper will unzip when it's supposed to, and you're going to be able to see beyond and go into the next portion. Okay, let's take a look. Thank you so much for all the stickers, by the way. I will say thanks individually at the end. Let's see what you guys chose for me. I was half expecting a tie, but thankfully it looks like there's one here. So we have how and when to move on. We're really looking at the Five of Swords here. Is it worth it? Should you do it? Should you not? Good question. It's one I would have chosen as well. So how and when should you move on? This is so interesting. We've got the Four of Cups for this. So now is the time for many of you. You have somebody that's already helping you more than you may realize. This is such an unusual Four of Cups. I'm gonna pull the traditional one, but let's pull the traditional one for this, because sometimes what's in front of you is the least obvious, right? And I think that in this moment, you already have an opportunity knocking. We saw it in the Ace of Pentacles. I mentioned earlier that Ace of Cups is the inception. It's the idea that's in our heart. So I would say if your heart is yearning, is looking towards something, you've known for a while. You didn't need me to do the reading today to help you with this. But the reason it's coming through today is that you can't look past it anymore. You can't ignore the obvious. And I think that's the thing here. So the time to act is now. There's an obvious opportunity or way through this. And the universe is saying, let's do it. Let's co-create here. Because that's basically what this is the best illustration for a Four of Cups. The universe is giving you an ace, but you are focused on saying, but I wanted this, but I expected this, but it didn't happen before, and this seems safer. There is an ace floating, and so the time is now. An ace would be 1 or 10. So I would say within the next week to week and a half would be the time to take the action. And what action are you taking, what your heart wants to do on this? And what are you not going to do? Compare yourself to other people or what they expected, particularly parents, particularly other people that are, peers. If they expect you to do something, but it's not what makes you happy, no amount of time, energy, or toil is ever going to completely satisfy you. Ultimately, this is a grumpy person. So we want you to get out of the grumpy energy and into that expressive energy of the Ace of Cups, which we talked about earlier. So the time to move on is now. Looking at how the question was formed here one more time. How and when to move. Yeah, we're not talking about fighting, so it's time to move on now. It's just unexpected. It's just, for some of you, you don't have to explain it to someone. Because this could be mom, dad, brother, sister, family unit, or a friend where they just don't understand what you're trying to do. How can you make a living at this? Or why are you dating this person? Or why are you moving away from home? It's not about them. That's the interesting thing. It's about you, not them. And their pride or their prejudice could be standing in the way of you being able to do what you need to do. And so that's the answer to the question, and I hope it helped out. The hidden blessing portion of this is saying that the timing could be really inconvenient. You might have just gotten settled and now you have a chance to move again. You might have just taken a job, but there's this new opportunity that happened. You might be newly single and someone wants to get serious. If it's the right move and you feel good about it, the universe has a sense of humor with timing sometimes. Because you don't expect, or you're not pulling towards that, suddenly it comes rushing in. So if it feels right, then do it, even if it's inconvenient. That's the other piece to this, a hidden blessing, an annoying or an amusing timing, but nonetheless a blessing. Okay. Let's move on to the final portion of the reading. Let's just make sure that we covered everything we did. So what we're going to do now is focus on a meditation and a final card. For the final card, before we even get to that, make sure that you write down, don't put it in text yet because I don't want to see it, but just write it down on your phone or keep it in your head, whatever question you have for me, and I'll pull an additional card at the end. What we're going to meditate on, I remembered, is the spider's web. We're going to clear things out and we're going to really create this cosmic web that's going to we're going to spin it from gold or something fun like that and allow you to really attract the highest possible opportunity. Okay? All right, so before we meditate, a couple quick notes. Hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. It'll help you stay connected to me. It helps the channel grow. It's also important because when I do live streams, they don't rank as high in the algorithm. Pre-recorded ones rank higher. It's really weird. I get half as many subscribers when I do lives, but I like lives better, and I think you do too. So interact with this when it's on replay. Make sure that you share it, make sure that you comment, make sure that you do whatever you can to kind of like engage with it. It helps. But liking and subscribing is key too. My subscribers go down too when I do lives. It's so bizarre. If you want to stay tuned and make sure you don't miss anything, join me across social media. Again, all my social handles are hidden here. I don't offer I don't offer private readings or use direct messages, so please keep that in mind. And if you'd like to show some love and support, then you can do it through SuperStickers and SuperChats. Yeah, I love lives too. I would do solely lives if I could, but I have to mix in a few, which is probably why I will do my retrograde video as a pre-recorded. This is how the algorithm works. It likes a mix of things, but definitely show some love on the lives when they're on replay. It helps. So commenting once it's on replay, hitting the thumbs up once it's on replay, and then clicking a share button from within the video. All of those interactions help. Just fun facts from a creator's perspective and a back-end perspective. All right, let's meditate so we can look at that final question. All right, so I want you to just first and foremost get relaxed. Take a nice deep breath. Stretch a little bit if you need to as well. And let it go. Perfect. Imagine, if you will, that you are staring at the firmament. That you are not just staring at the firmament, but you are this magical, mystical spider. And you are capable of spinning a web of hope and opportunity. There are two crystals on either ends of this web that you're going to create. amethyst crystals for protection. So imagine that you have these towering amethyst crystals, and maybe there are some, almost like trees, they are kind of branching out and everything. So you're going to put your web on the crystalline structure around you. And as you start to lay out the initial portion of the web, you notice that you're capable of spinning gold, a golden web. Like a traditional web, it has that sticky quality to it. Imagine that as you're creating the web, you're not going to just make the standard web. You're going to use this almost like constellation. You're going to create a symbol in the web that is good for you. You're the creator. So for those of you that want love, maybe you're going to spin a heart. For those of you that want wealth or opportunity, maybe you're going to spin a coin in the middle. For those of you that want to see like self-worth, maybe it's in the shape of a diamond or something like that. Whatever you want to kind of put in the web, think of a simple totem-like symbol, an avatar, a sigil is the word that we were looking for here. So think of a sigil or a symbol that will sum up what it is that you want to create and spin it in the web. And then step back and imagine that you could take a deep breath and you see the web light up with golden light. And now imagine that you could pull this energy into your auric field. So this web of creation, this web of attraction is now a part of your aura. And it's completely your own creation. You are the magician here. You are the one that's making this special. You are the one that believes and is making this unique to yourself. Therefore, it's more powerful. And as I play the singing bowl, I want you to see that image that represents the future thing that you're creating light up and really illuminate everything in the path so you can see what the next step is in this journey. If there's anything that catches your mind as we are meditating here, an old thought, an old way of being, imagine that you could take one of your many arms and just clip that and say, nope, that's in the past. We're only focusing on what I'm creating here in the future. All right. Imagine now that you are back here in your living room, in your office, outside, wherever you're listening to me, that you have captured that energy, the attractive energy of the cosmic cobweb, and you have this sigil that you're going to meditate on. It's your own power symbol that you created, that you infuse power into. And each day for the next week or so, you're going to remind yourself, I can do this, I will do this, I am capable of this. I am, I will, or I can, I will, I am. All right, let's go to the final question and the final card for today. We'll just use the Rider-Waite-Smith deck for this. Focus on the question that you have for me. Let's shuffle the cards and let's see what the universe has to offer and to say. Three of Pentacles. So it is written, so shall it be done. That's a fantastic card for being able to accomplish and to receive what it is that you want to basically do here. So let's break it down. The Three of Pentacles means for any of you that want to master or complete something, it's a yes. Like, do you want to go back to school? Do you want to finish something that you started? Yes. Will people be interested in it? Yes. Is it a good time for knowledge expansion? Yes. A little different than the Eight of Pentacles. This is usually about putting the finishing touches on something, or about, again, like if Eight of Pentacles was primary school, this would be like college or trade school or training. It's the finishing school, the finishing touches. If you have a project or something that you want to release, this is a final, very high level edit, nothing much in it. This is just about proofing basically something that's ready. It's also saying, if you love it, if you put your TLC into it, other people are going to see that as well. A work of art. If you were asking me a yes, no, it's saying yes, but get it in writing. So especially if you want someone else to do something, this is a contract card. So record it, document it, get it in writing. It's a good card for my fellow writers out there or any artists, because this is a chance for people to be a patron or support what you're doing as well. It's one of the better cards in the minor arcana. There's nothing negative with the Three of Pentacles. I would have to stretch and it would have to be reversed. The only stretch I can get, if I really think of something to be aware of, is the need for external validation, which we get both with the Six of Wands and the Three of Pentacles, but it's not reversed. So all I would say with this is, just because you don't get the initial, 5-star review or thumbs up or whatever it's going to be, doesn't mean that it's not high quality. This is synonymous with quality. So one last thing that I would say is make sure that quality is there, that you are happy before you push send, before you share, before it is delivered to the world. Don't do something in haste. Don't do something, we talked about some of the other stuff just because you're angry or emotional. Always do it with a sense of completion. Put solid energy into that, and all will go well with that. Okay? That, my friends, brings today to a close. And I hope that you enjoyed spending a little bit of time with Apollo and I today. I know I enjoyed this time and space. I want to say thanks equally to everyone, whether it was your first time stopping in here. I hope you enjoyed it. I do some very short 1-minute videos every day. You can look at the one that I did for today. I also do monthly videos, and I sprinkle some other ones in between. I'm going to do one for Mercury retrograde. It's coming through in the latter part of December, so I want to make sure that we get stuff done in advance of that. The pre-shadow will be coming in not too short a time. So right now, I would say end of November, beginning of December is the key time to really get stuff wrapped up. So I'll be putting out a video sometime this week, and I'll try to make it short so that you can watch it like 20 minutes or less, maybe 15 minutes if I can make it happen, with a little bit of a key of what to focus on. Okay, so keep an eye out on the main channel for that. All right, let me say thanks to all of you who either became a member today or earlier today, and then I'll do the super stickers. All right, so memberships first. While I'm doing that, I'll take a quick drink. And again, something member specific. I've been meaning to do that, but this week. All right. So starting with the members, looks like we have a few folks here that we have someone that rejoined. So Shimo, I think it is. Thank you so much for rejoining. Good to have you back after a month. Brand new, the Change Queen. Thank you for joining. Balanced Glow, rejoining after 1 month. Sapolina, thank you very much for rejoining after 1 month. Dark Shadows, I saw you at the beginning today. Welcome. And earlier today, I think before I got started, Denise Grainer, thank you very much. Susie Vargas, and I think that's everybody from today. So those are all the newest members. Thank you so much. Let me quickly say thank you to SuperStickers next. So give me a second. SuperStickers and Super Chat. All right, for today, let's see who kicked it off. Okay. Starting everything off today was Lucy Rodriguez. Thank you very much. Yvette Sanchez. Thank you. Good to see you again. Color Me Happy. Liz Morrison. Renita Prince. D.E. Donna. Bonnie Hagan. Darcy Rollins. Unstoppable. Eileen. Thank you so much, Eileen, for the 49. I appreciate that. Evo Versus, I think it is. Thank you very much. Carrie Simon. Kimmy. Linda P. Audrey. Christopher. Renita Ray, Kathy Smith, Twin Readings, Jeannie Hart, Lucy Rodriguez again, thank you very much. Carmen Dickinson, Mauricia, thank you very much. Sonia V, Robin Accurate, I think it is. Linda J, Kathy Ahern, Leah, Mermaid Crystal, Josie or Jose, Jose Let probably, Audrey Christopher, and let's see if I missed anybody. I think there are a few late ones here. Yes, we have a few late ones here. So Dark Shadows, thank you again. Nicole Marquez, and welcome to Cipriana. Good to have you here as a channel member. Thank you to Shayna, and welcome to Pearl. Good to have you both as new members here. So today was magical. Again, I'm not afraid to sometimes look at some of the more difficult areas, and I think we got some areas of opportunity, particularly when it comes to communication, when it comes to accountability, and knowing that will help us be able to navigate and do the best. The good news here for everybody, if we were just to take a quick look at this, is you already are unblocked. It's just some of these things with paying attention to, promises and then fights that are worth fighting. I think those are the things that could kind of distract you. And then just willingness and readiness to receive. All of those could also constitute blocks. So we want to look at those things. But anyway, good luck in the week ahead. I'll be wrapping up the signs this week. Aquarius, I'll be seeing you tomorrow. And then depending on how I feel energetically, I'll either do Pisces on Tuesday or Wednesday, but I'll put those videos up on the main page soon so you can see it. And let me see if there's anything else that I want to mention. Like I said, we'll be starting the new month this week on Thursday, and I'll be doing that Mercury retrograde video and something for members too. So it'll be a busy week. We'll figure out how to put it all in here. Just keep an eye on the main page. And until then, lots of love and light. I'm going to take this sweetie pie for a walk and get out into the world today and enjoy. I hope you're doing the same. All right, guys, have a good one. Thanks so much. Thanks to Dakota for his help with moderation, and I'll talk to you all very soon. All right, bye-bye.